It seems like Texas cannot catch a break. Remember those laws and bills that we talked about a few months ago that's supposed to take effect September the 1st, which is in about a week and a half-ish? These city officials are running around like chickens with their head cut off because they don't like regulations. They don't like discipline. They don't want anybody telling them anything, and anything from Governor Abbott is apparently horrible. I don't understand why they don't like this man. Like, I really don't get it. I don't agree 100% with what Governor Abbott says 100% of the time. But I don't agree with anyone on this earth 100% of the time. We're not supposed to. We have different opinions, okay? We have different minds, and we think differently. We believe in different things. So we're not going to agree 100% of the time. But you can't allow mainstream media or Democrat officials or elected officials to detour your thoughts. You can't allow that to happen. You have to think for yourself. And if there is no way or no reason as to why you're against this one man, then maybe you should just give him a try. Because for the most part, he has Texans, citizens' best interests at heart. For the most part. It's a lot of politicians out there that don't have their citizens' interests at heart. There's a lot of politicians out there who are corrupt and who are only out for themselves, okay? And no, I don't know this man personally. But from what I see, and the bills that are being passed, the laws that are being passed, 9 out of 10 of them seems like they're for the people. But he's being sued. The state is being sued. And when the state is being sued, it's basically like pinpointing him, saying that he's not doing his job or he's signing the wrong laws or bills into place. And that's just not the truth. You have the DOJ that has recently tried to sue Texas over the floating barriers, stating that they are inhumane. But how are they inhumane when you're just trying to stop immigrants from coming into Texas because we are at capacity? That's not inhumane. It makes sense, especially if you don't want to finish the wall. It makes sense. The cities are now suing because of the new city regulations that are set to start on September the 1st. Regulations that are very much so needed in the labor sector and in the business sector. We need that. We need regulation when it comes to the city officials basically having free reign when it comes to money. Y'all need to be regulated. Then you have cities suing for their self-governance, stating that the state is stripping them of their power because of juvenile curfews. Now, this one I'm kind of 50-50 on because El Paso has a curfew that is from 11 p.m., I believe, to 6 a.m., I think throughout the week for anyone under the age of 17. And so this new bill is supposed to abolish that law or that curfew, stating that the juveniles basically won't have a curfew. Now, I can understand why we need it, and I can understand why we don't. Because if you're under the age of 17, you shouldn't be out that late anyway. I mean, unless there's an emergency or for some reason you just have a job that runs over 11 o'clock, I can understand it. But for the most part, in order to keep criminal activity down, you kind of need those juveniles to be at the house because that's where they're supposed to be. And then you have the gender affirming lawsuit that's coming down the pipeline from the doctors and the parents, stating that basically the youth need to have access to transgender services. But again, if you're under the age of 18, you're a child and you don't have a say-so. Matter of fact, even if you're above the age of 18, you don't have a say-so on whether you're a man or a woman, because whatever you were born as, that's what you are. So that's another lawsuit for that. And then just recently this week, a judge blocked a law that will abolish the Harris County election office. Remember when I said the last election that we had in Harris County was basically horrible? Republican neighborhoods didn't have the tools that they needed to vote. Democratic neighborhoods kept on getting shut down. The power kept going off. They weren't able to count the ballots. People were given paper ballots. It was just a hot mess, okay? So of course, the state would want to revert the power back to the state because they're seeing that these appointed officials don't know what they're doing. And if you're an appointed official who doesn't know what they're doing, then why wouldn't the state come in and take over? Because before 2020, prior to 2020, elections were ran by the county assessors and the county officials. So they made a change to try and make it better for the people and for the state, but it didn't work. The last election was horrible. So if something that you did, a decision that you made, didn't work out for the best, wouldn't you revert back to see if maybe, maybe this isn't going to work, so let's just go back to what we know to be true and what we know will work for right now, because we have an election coming up in a few months. And the people that's running, we don't need them cheating. We do not need those people cheating at all, okay? So Texas Attorney General has now appealed that judge's decision to abolish the election officials, because what in the world is going on? It's like every single time there's a bill or a law being passed in Texas, they're quick to go against it because of who our governor is. It doesn't matter what he passes, they're against him. So whatever he says or does, they're against that too. Instead of actually looking at the laws and looking at what the people need versus what they want, because things have to be cohesive. You have to have the discipline, you have to have the regulations across the board in order for things to run smoothly. I mean, wouldn't you want that? If you're a politician, your main goal should be that the people are taken care of. If you're a politician, you work for the people. The people don't work for you. You're supposed to be making it easier for the citizens of your state or your city. So if you're not doing that, if you're money laundering, if you're taking money from the people, if you're making bad decisions based off of what you want and not the people needs, then that's not a very good politician. If you're continually fighting the person who is supposed to be an authority over you, then how is that, to me, how does that look to a citizen? Because from my point of view, I see the cities constantly fighting the state. And it doesn't seem like they're on the same page at all. Which I understand that, people aren't always going to be on the same page. But for the most part, politicians should want what's in the best interest of the people, right? So why are you constantly going back and forth, constantly debating? Why is it a constant issue every single time someone wants to pass something or put a law into place? If you're not trying to strip the citizens of their freedoms or their rights or, become a communist territory or become a dictator, then if you're doing what you feel is best, then why is it an issue? That's the question that I have right now. Why is it an issue? Why is what he's doing such an issue? Because people don't want discipline? Because you don't want regulations? Because everybody thinks that Republicans are racist for some reason? Because mainstream media just basically can say whatever they want and you can believe them, or you run with whatever they say instead of forming an opinion of your own? Come on, y'all. We have to do better than that. I mean, Texas we can catch the punches. Because that's just what it is. We have the governor that we have in place for a reason, okay? God knows exactly what he's doing, because we need the regulations. We need the discipline. We need the laws that are being passed right now. And 9 times out of 10, I believe that the governor and the state politicians actually do have our best interests at heart. Now, when it comes to the cities, I don't know, you might want to rethink that. So think about that. Think about that. It's just a quick update on the things that's going on, the laws that's being passed, the lawsuits, the appeals, and all of the fighting. Because right now, that's all I see. Fighting, just fighting. The Democratic Party, Republican Party, everybody's just fighting each other. So let's see what goes on in the next few weeks, especially leading up to September the 1st. All right, y'all.